waving.
She's waving. That means it's time to start. Okay. Well, hey there. We're coming to you today from Kernersville, North Carolina. And some of you have probably wondered from time to time, what the heck ever happened to ZZ Top? Well, we were in a bad motorcycle wreck together, and here we are today. Actually, it's not true. We don't have quite enough beard to fake that, I don't guess. But no, I'm Richard Hill, and this is my new friend Moses McMillan. And Moses does a street ministry, and I don't know what all. I'm going to ask him. We're going to talk a little bit. He was the inspiration for one song that I've done called Satan Sucks, and you can find that on this same webpage. But this little piece of time here I want to devote to hearing a little bit of his story and what he does. So I know today you've been out on the street on the corner here in Kernersville with your signs, and also we've got a picture here that my other longtime friend, Richard Hitchcock. Say hello, Richard.
Hello, Richard.
Yeah, we're in his shop today doing this video, and this is a painting that Richard did of Moses. He claims he's going to do one of me someday when I get a little older and a little rougher looking. But we'll see about that. Moses, how did you get started doing the street thing?
I was in the biker ministry. I never was a biker, and I was in the biker ministry. I had a couple of bars, and when I got saved, I couldn't find nobody to hang out with. It was like I was too rough to church crowd.
Yeah.
You know, so I found some old boys that rode motorcycles, and I said, well, I guess that'd be all right. So I hung out with them, and then I had to buy a motorcycle, you know. Couldn't hang out with them long without owning one, you know.
I understand that.
So I rode with them about 6 years. It was called the Sons of God. And then in '91, in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, I met the guy that heads up his labor and feud. And I started hanging around with him, and God told me, said, I want you to sit under his teaching. Didn't tell me to join the ministry, just told me to sit under his teaching. So we would, whenever the Sons of God, we would go out and be invited to go to the church. We'd invite him to come along and do the preaching, you know, the teaching. But then went along there, you know, and I sort of got in more and more, and then we opened up this place called the Harvest Camp in High Point on Eastchester Drive, which was owned by the Wesleyans. And we started bringing in women and men both that were drugs and alcohol and prostitutes and things like that.
Now, how long ago was that when you started?
We started in '92 on that.
Okay.
And we had about 15 men on one side of the street and 15 women on the other. Had to keep them separated, you know. Yeah. And the only thing they'd done was eat together. They got to eat in the same dining room, and they got to go to church together. But other than that, they didn't have no time with each other. And then the place got sold and 2000, and we had to leave. We went down in Trinity and bought a place down there, and we called it the Harvest Camp. And then we had to go to Thomasville and buy another place to move the rest of the ministry. And
now the place in Trinity is the Harvest Camp that's there now, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. On Covered Bridge Road.
Right. And as you know, I got acquainted with another friend of yours, Karen Motzinger, through a church, Sandy Ridge Methodist Church. She and I had done some music together there.
Well, she's my caregiver, you know.
Absolutely.
She keeps me alive a lot of times. She does a lot of food for me. I got it in the refrigerator now. I eat on it every day.
Well, I found out about Harvest Camp first through Karen, and then we go down there a couple of Saturday nights a month, and I play some music. I've written one song for the Harvest Camp folks called "One More Second Chance."
Yeah.
Because as you know, with the rehab deal, it's not a matter of a second chance, a second chance, and second chance, and third second chance, and just go on. But hopefully, at least for a few of them, it finally takes, and they finally get straight and sober, and they make it worth the effort of everybody to try to help them. So
got in the street ministry around 2001. Maybe somewhere along there, 2002. And I said, I was was sitting in my car one time looking at a corner watching people, and they were just, people was beat all to pieces, man. You could see it in their face and their eyes, walking them down the street. It's like there was nowhere to go, nothing to do, and it was like ants, you know. And I said, why don't I get out here with a sign that says Jesus saves, and maybe some of them want to talk to me. So I went and got me a sign made that said Jesus saves. And it was an election, and I got a little girl to go with me. She's another one of my caregivers, lifelines. And she said, I'll go with you. So we got her a sign that says, give me Jesus, and I had the sign that says Jesus saves. And Lexington was the first place we went. And sure enough, we had a lot of people stop that day and want to talk. And a couple of them wanted prayer. Then I had to get me some signs that said, prayer needed, stop now. So we got a couple of them. And then one day, I thought about this, and what happened was, I went to a swap meet in Charlotte, and there was a group there from Alabama that had come up with the Satan Suck, and they had a tract. I picked up a couple of tracts, put them in my pocket. I come on back and I read the tract. I got some of them in the car now. I read the tract and I read the tract. I said, them old boys are right on with it. So then we got some signs that said Satan sucks. And then I went and cut me, they sold t-shirts that said Satan sucks. So I bought me a couple of them. And they're from Alabama, they're a good bunch of boys. And they was a rough crowd. They'd been in the biker world and been out there and you might say the 1% clubs and all. And it was a good bunch of boys now. They got saved and hooked up, and I'm sure a lot of Christians, so-called Christians, look down on them and said, them boys can't be Christians. I know we was in Greensboro one time on the corner of Market and Elm Street. That's right downtown.
Sure.
And the woman was giving out tracts, and we were talking to people, and a woman come up and said, y'all can't be Christians the way y'all look. There ain't no Christians with got tattoos on their arms. There ain't no Christians with long beards like y'all got. And she just kept on beating me up, you know. And I said, ma'am, you want to pray and accept Jesus? And she said, I'm a Christian. And I said, well, I'm going to kick the dust off my feet and get away from you. So when I said that, man, she took a shot. Going down Elm Street as fast as she could go. And, you know, I've had Baptist ministers stop and cuss me out because of that sign. And I said, look at this leg right here. Look at that. I said, you think Satan didn't suck that off? Huh? You think he didn't put all them scars on me, Satan?
Well, I have to ask you about that. Now, how did that happen? What happened to you?
The leg?
Yeah.
I was warned by doctors, 2 of them, to quit my lifestyle. Smoking was the big one, because I'd already done all the drugs there was, you know, and everything. But smoking was the biggie then. And I said, no. And I told God, I stood up and I said, God, look here. I give up women. I was chasing them bad. I give up drugs. I give up alcohol. And I give up gambling, which I really loved, you know. And I said, I give up all my love, but I ain't giving these Marlboro lights up. He said, yes, you are. That's a bad witness for me. I said, nope, I ain't gonna do it. And he would tell me about, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a day, and he'd give him cigarettes up. I said, no. And so I went to the doctor, and he said, well, we're gonna try to save that leg. And they done 6 operations in 30 days trying to save it, and they couldn't. Took it off. So that's my stubbornness, my hard-headedness. And every time I ever stood and argued with God, toe to toe, I've stood toe to toe with him quite a few times and argued with him, and I ain't won one yet. You know. So.
I know that feeling.
Huh?
I know that feeling.
And I generally tell God what I'm gonna do, and He said, "I'm supposed to be telling you what to do."
But you usually get around to listening.
You don't tell me what you're gonna do, you know. Yeah. So today we come to Kernersville, and Montana Joe shows up. Praise God! I called Squawk, and he called him, and he got him up there. And I called Poppy, and he wasn't coming. He felt bad, and he called me back, and he said, "I'm on my way." I said, well, "Come up here." And then Miss Montsinger shows up, you know, and then here comes Richard and his wife, and then there comes Richard Hedcock. I said, "Man, we got a crowd around here now, you know." And we got told, you know, by certain people up here that there wasn't no homeless in Kernersville, there wasn't no alcoholics or drug addicts, there wasn't no sin in Kernersville. And I said, I can't believe that. Well, Kernersville's the bedroom of the Piedmont, and everybody over here's a Christian. I said, tell me about it.
Yeah.
You know. So, you know. But we got into street ministry that way. And I give up on the biker ministry almost. I still go to a few clubhouses. I go to about 3 or 4 different clubhouses when they have a function, and I go there and sit around and talk to people, and we get asked every now and then to pray for people. Well, would you pray for my mother? And he'd be a hell's angel or something. Would you pray for my mother? Sure will. We'll pray for her. And I've been asked this. Squawk, who goes with me a lot, my husband's in the hospital in Winston-Salem dying. I said, who is it? And he's a member of the Hells Angels. So Squawk would go over to the hospital and go to the hospital and pray with the boy. And I'd pray with the wife. I stood on the corners and prayed with the wife that was dying in the hospital. And then when Squawk and I would go to the funeral in Winston-Salem. There was one Hells Angel died, what was his name? Yuri something or other. And we went to the funeral, and I'll tell you what, there was motorcycles and people there from everywhere in the United States of America and some foreign country for that Hells Angels funeral. And across the street was the FBI, the CIA, the Davidson County, the Randolph County, the Guilford County, and the Forsyth County Sheriff's Department, the Winston-Salem Police Department. All of them had cameras. Every police department in North Carolina, the FBI and all was there. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And they was filming that whole funeral and filming the people who were going into the funeral home and coming out of the funeral home.
Somebody told me the first time you came over here, the Kernersville police took a few pictures too, and were kind of smoking you over pretty well.
They give us a hassle out there, but that, you know, we expect that. The guy across the street, he wore a camera out on us over in that corner. I don't know what his name is over there, but he wore a camera out on us. He'd be on the building taking pictures. He'd be around the corner. We'd see him, and I'd point, and they'd all laugh. He'd be here and he'd be there, and he'd in the window.